Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here for Popternative, speaking to Gary Weeks about Sweet Magnolias, which just dropped season 2 on Netflix. Of course, he's Luke in Outer Banks as well, JJ's father. Welcome back to the show, man. It's so good to see you.
Dude, thank you so much for having me. It's great to be back.
Our first interview was 2 years ago. Feels like it was a lot longer than that, though.
Wow. I feel much older than that now.
It's always exciting when a new a show you work on kind of drops. You know, you play Ashley Davenport in Sweet Magnolias. I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, season 1 had so many cliffhangers, obviously, and then we're back to season 2. People can kind of see the story kind of unfolding a little bit. What's that like for you when it kind of drops for season 2, knowing how it ended for season 1?
It's just really cool because you get to, you know, the first season you're seeing everybody kind of flesh out.
Yep.
Got to figure out who they are and the things that they want and what they, characters some don't want. But, you know, then watching it all kind of come together and then dive into this one, which is a very different season than the first season. It's gone to a whole new level. It's like you bought a new car that's a lot faster.
Well, I'll tell you what's not different. Cliffhanger for season 3. No, but like you do such a good job with Ashley. I mean, this is a character that we obviously like. They're diving into a lot of other characters more in season 2, which I think is really cool, right? Because you have kind of like the Sweet Magnolias, their families and everything. Is it cool to kind of see a little bit more of kind of arc and growth and discovery of other characters as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. And I mean, that cast is just, it's so good.
Yeah.
And they're all, you know, they blend together so well. And it, you know, from the outset, when I heard about the actual story, I was like, this will either be really good or it's just going to be like just a normal hangout city thing. But the relationships and the things they had, especially in this new season, man, they just take it to a whole other level. It's just so cool.
It's interesting too, because we had you on the show, like we talked about Outer Banks, obviously, but then like Sweet Magnolias was also came out around that time too, like a month for it wasn't that they weren't far off from each other, like release wise in 2020. No.
And it was funny because every once in a while I'd see, you know, I can see when somebody recognizes but they can't figure it out, and I can almost see the difference.
Yeah.
On wait. Because they watch both shows.
I remember messaging you and I'm like, you're also in Sweet Magnolias. And you were like, yes. I'm like, what? Like they're both out at similar times. Do you remember when we did the interview for Outer Banks? We did it it was out for 3 days. And it was like the biggest show ever. Do you remember that? That was crazy, man.
They're both great. I mean, this week, you know, Magnolias had the number 1 and number 8 on Netflix. I mean, I had both seasons in the top 10. That was, you know, that's crazy.
It's cool. It's cool because, but also to add to that, 2 Netflix shows, 2 shows with huge fan bases, right? Like huge dedicated fan bases, the Outer Banks fans and the Sweet Magnolia fans, all like the Facebook groups and stuff. Is that really cool that not only are you part of kind of 2 successful global Netflix shows, but they have these fans are unbelievable specifically for these 2 shows?
Oh, they really are. And they love the shows and they're so nice to us.
Yeah.
Which just a really great thing. I got so many really sweet notes. And then, from Outer Banks when I don't get them quite as sweet.
No, you do not.
But everybody really gets into it, and that cast and that crew, they're truly a family, and it makes that thing kind of work, which is, really cool.
It's funny because it takes, not spoilers. Season 2 for Outer Banks has been out for a while, so we're going to talk about it. For people that haven't seen it, if you're watching this interview, you probably saw it. So you know what? I don't care. But it takes a while for us to see Luke in season 2, right?
Yes.
And then we see you, and it's like, you're in jail. Right? But that's a slow burn too. Were you When did you find out that was kind of the storyline for Luke in season 2, like the jail and kind of getting bailed out by JJ, part of the plans and everything? What was that? When did you find out about that? Like when got renewed, or?
No, I mean, I didn't find out about it until the season was about to start. I mean, I knew that I was going to be back, or at least I thought I was going to be back.
Yeah.
But I didn't know. I mean, like when I got the first episode of that one, I was like, yes, I'm doing, because I love basketball. Basketball is one of my favorite things in the world.
Yep.
I did not go pro because I would never make a team ever. But but I loved, and then I was like, wait, I get to play basketball in this scene? Awesome. And then I looked at it, I was like, oh, and I'm in jail. So.
Yeah. Netflix just released a teaser for Adam Sandler movie today called Hustle, coming out in the summer, about basketball. It looks unbelievable.
Yes. He's a great player.
Yeah. I mean, so good. Yeah.
Insane.
I think I find it funny, and I'm curious because you've been doing this for quite some time now and acting a lot of really cool things. You kind of like when you see trailers for things drop, you kind of reflect on, there was a lot of like videos of him like playing basketball and like in the last couple of years, and then it kind of makes sense because it was like while he was making this movie, right?
Right.
Like that's basic, because there was a lot. Like there was like, wow, like Adam Sandler's like a great player, and like all these videos, and then this comes out, and he's not like the player, but like it's a basketball. It's like, of course, like that makes sense now.
Like setting up, it's like they're setting up the movie 3 years early, like just slowly putting it together.
Pretty much. Getting back to what you just said about like you had an idea that you were going to come back for season 2, like it wasn't like 100% like for Outer Banks. Is that a misconception too, that like actors like know what's going on?
I can only speak for myself.
Yeah.
a few friends of mine, I won't say who, and but a lot of times it really is. We don't necessarily know exactly what's going to happen. That's one of the beautiful things, especially about Outer Banks, because I have no idea. I mean, this could be the last. Everyone wants to kill my character. He can be gone at any time. So when you're looking through and get to do that, I mean, it's a little nuts.
Go back and watch the episode we first did, man. 13,000 views, all the comments, like and everyone being like, Gary Weeks is so nice, but his character's the worst. Like, how is this possible? You gotta go back. It's got 13,000 views on our YouTube channel. It's crazy.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. 13,000. I mean, that's you, dude.
I appreciate that. No, but that was a great conversation. I just love how we did that so fresh. Like the show wasn't even out a week, and we're just sitting there. And we're just like, 3 days, and this is just a phenomenon.
Yeah, it's like if you haven't watched it this week, spoilers.
I think it's the Netflix factor, to be honest with you. I mean, we're doing an interview with Gary Weeks now, who's on 2 of the biggest Netflix shows around that people talk about. I mean, I think it has to be the Netflix factor at some point, right?
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, they obviously are doing things right, and I mean, to be able to do quality, everything's quality.
Yep.
I keep almost like I watched a lot of Netflix. I love Netflix. I'm going through, and I'm always like, there's got to be one show that just stinks. There's got to be something, and
it's hard.
They just keep turning out amazing stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah. I love the global aspect of that. I love that I can watch shows from all around the world. I love that people from all around the world can instantly watch Sweet Magnolias and catch you as Ashley Davenport in season 2. Sweet Magnolias is available now, so go watch it. But and then in some countries they can watch you as the cop in the dinner party episode of The Office. You're not gonna do a Popternative interview ever without me bringing that up. I'm sorry. It's too iconic. It's one of the most iconic episodes of a show ever. You are there as a cop.
So lucky, dude. I loved it. There's a few of those shows that you love. We talked about it before.
Yeah.
Just praying to do anything on it, and then to get to do it with literally everybody in there on that episode.
Well, I mean, I just spoke to Greg Daniels about Upload on Prime Video, and it was just crazy.
Was a fantastic show, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. There was the press junket for that. But I'm going to tell you honestly, It's hard too because there's so many amazing people I've talked to, but I'm telling you right now, I've done over I've done over 850 interviews, and it's crazy. But you know, my favorite interview probably is that I've done, just because it was almost like a master class in terms of like his answers were like almost like teaching moments, right? I interviewed Michael Schur, who's one of the writers of The Office, right?
Yep.
Dude, I'm telling you, that's probably like my favorite interview I've ever done. Because he really went through like how he got involved with The Office, how he got involved with The Good Place, where did the idea came from, what do you do about writing, like workplace like it was so cool, man. Like honestly, like it was crazy. Yeah.
All right. Well, now I know what I'm doing when I get off this.
It's like a master class. You know the master classes on YouTube and everything? Because I asked him, like, what advice do you have for writers? I mean, comedy is like the hardest genre to work in.
Yes.
Because comedy and things are funny change. There's like expiration dates, right?
Right.
So
it's subjective because everybody likes certain things. What I think is really funny, my kids are like looking at me like I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
It's an interesting thing as well, because like you also were in, I believe, I'm 99% sure, but I'm gonna edit this out if I'm not. you were in a Spider-Man, right? Were you in Spider-Man Homecoming?
Yeah, I was in.
You were, okay.
And a brief moment in the last one.
Is it a cool moment though, even though they're smaller roles compared to other? Like, it's just cool to be part of that, right?
I mean, I don't know if we talked about this before, but yeah, I mean, from my perspective, especially having kids that are into it too. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was unbelievable. And I got knocked out by Michael Keaton, who's one of the reasons I became an actor. I love and I just didn't realize that he would be punching me for a day and a half. That was
When did you notice comic book culture becoming like the biggest thing ever? Because I would say going back like 5 years, I'd say there was like a big boom. Because I used to get made fun of all the time being into that when I was growing up.
I'll tell you that I remember the moment for me. Definitely.
Great.
LA, tell me. And Iron Man was coming out. We went on the opening night, and while we were up there, some of the cast came down.
Yeah.
And introduced themselves before the thing started, and was thanking us, and I mean, it was just really, really cool.
Yep.
And that movie just blew me away, and I felt like, okay, we've got a whole new thing now.
Have you watched? Because if you haven't, like, that's going to be your next thing to watch. Like, you have to. Have you watched Peacemaker on HBO Max yet?
No. It's funny. I have it on the queue. I have,
Here's the thing about that show. That is a superhero show, right? That's DC Universe. That's one of the funniest shows I've ever watched in my life.
Really?
And it's a superhero show.
Right.
It's so funny. The writing is it's so funny. Like, it's hilarious.
I wonder if that's like one of the evolutions that it's going through too, where they're finding
it's one of the coolest things to do interviews with people. Like, I love, like, it's cool. Like, you telling me about, Outer Banks and Sweet Magnolias. It's one of the best things about doing this kind of gig of interviewing people that have been part of it, because they have this perspective, because they're around the showrunners and the cast and the writers, and they're having conversations. And Steve Agee, who's in Peacemaker, said that I think the coolest thing is, like, we're part of the DC universe doing like hilarious jokes and like losing our minds, and it's the same universe where like Batman's all serious,
right?
And then you have like Peacemaker, right? Like, that's a really cool thing to think about, right?
Yeah, it totally is. It's just evolving so much bigger than I think anybody would have really expected. And my kids are massive fans. They're superheroes. Yeah. And I think that will stick with them for life, which is cool.
It is so cool. And then, oh man, there's so many good shows out there though. Like, it's a good time for TV shows right now.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, I have a queue that's insane.
Yeah.
That I can't get through everything. So
my interview schedule dictates sometimes what I watch, right? Because that makes sense, right? Exactly. So I have a little bit of guidance there, I would say. But do you ever have guidance maybe sometimes, like when you book a role and you got something and you're going to go shoot it, and then like and maybe you want to like watch some of his movies, like the filmmaker's movies before? Has that ever happened too?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I mean, yeah, pretty much anytime if I'm not aware of all of their work, just to be able to kind of see different things. Yeah, I'll always try to watch anything I can just to get an idea of how they do it. I mean, all actors are different in the way that they do things, but it's always good to get an idea. Just, any step ahead you can do is good.
There's a lot happening in Sweet Magnolias. Obviously, for me, it's always been the family component of it. Obviously, a lot of shows kind of deal with kind of the family component. This one's kind of right there all the time. And I think that's a really good thing. Is that safe to say that's kind of the big theme you would say about working on that show too and seeing everything? Like, it's family, right? Like, family's there, right? Yeah.
I mean, you take the leads and they kind of like, started off just their relationship kind of goes out to all of us.
Yep.
And it just kind of bleeds into all of what we do. Yeah, I mean, it's all about relationships and, good, bad, and ugly, because that's what it is in life. But they have a way of finding, a little spark, even in the bad sides, which I think is great.
Oh, 100%. And yeah, season 2 is out right now. Fingers crossed for season 3. Outer Banks season 2 is out right now. And season 3 is going to come. We don't know when, but that's all. That's amazing. That's also a cool feeling too, where it's like, yeah, your favorite show's been renewed, and it's just like we're waiting. But Gary, this was a blast catching up. Thank you so much for coming back on Popternative. Seriously,
dude, absolutely. I'm so happy. I appreciate the invite, and dude, keep it going. We'll do it again.
All the time. Open invitation anytime. Gary Weeks on Instagram, right? People can follow you there.
That's right. I am Gary Weeks.
I am Gary Weeks. Yeah, correct. Well, this has been, I am the cop from the office. Sorry. This has been Popternative, youtube.com. Yeah. youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Until next time, this is Gary Weeks and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.